Welcome back, friends of the homestead. This swing almost killed me last night. It's amazing how quickly something can change your life in the negative. Sweet Loaf asked me to push her on the swing, and so I was sitting on this and I had her on my lap, and we were just kind of going back and forth, and of course little kids like higher, 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 right? So I went back and wound up for a really big one. I was pushing back like this, and I got to the top of that apex of that swing, and the rope broke. It just so happened my van was parked right there, and I flew back here and hit right between my spine and shoulder blade on the corner of this box. And to make matters worse, my arm got tangled in this bar right here, and as I fell down, I was trying to clutch her and protect her, then I about tore my arm out of my socket. I am hurting so bad today that I had to have Mrs. W put my socks and my belt on, and I can't lift my arm. I thought I broke my back when I was down there. It knocked the wind out of me. I was all messed up. I'm operating at about 25% capacity today, but goodness gracious. I know people are going to say, well, you need to go to the hospital. Like, well, I pay, what do we pay, $1,200 a month for private health insurance with a massive deductible that we can't use? And the last place I'm going to go is to a hospital. They'll probably label me corona infected and put an ankle bracelet on me, and then I'll really have problems. So yeah, thank you very much, but no thank you. So since it's going to start raining today, let's head into the shop. I got a couple little projects that I've really been excited to do. This will be a perfect opportunity for that. So please pray for me for my speedy recovery, and I hope everything's going to come out all right. I think it is. I don't think anything's broken, but I certainly can't lift my arm today. Let's head over to the shop. Convalescing does have its upside. Now I can come out in the shop on a weekday and play with my toys guilt-free. All right, so I've got something really special to share with you guys. I'm very excited about this. My friend Corey over at Modlite. If you don't know about Modlite is actually the first that I know of contender to Surefire for top of the line, best of the best weapons lights. From a USA manufacturer. I know a lot of companies make them, and I've always loved Surefire. I'll tell you the truth is it's hard to buy Surefire sometimes because they're so expensive. But every Surefire that I've ever bought, I still have and I still use. All those Chinese brands, the Phoenixes and the Olights and those things, those have never been reliable for me. I would, if I have the option, I would not choose to put one of those on something that's going to be for defense. I've always trusted Surefire. I think for me, the disappointing thing about Surefire is being that they were really the only game in town, I didn't really feel like that they innovated as much as they weren't really keeping up with technology, and they weren't always the brightest stuff. So when Modlite came on the scene, I think that's really going to change the whole industry. These actually are lights that can be used at long range with a carbine. And I'll do another video once we get them mounted up. We'll mount them up today. We'll put one on M-LOK and one on quad rail. I've played around with them the other night, and my goodness, the throw on these things is unbelievable. I mean, now you really have a light that you can see and shoot at 100 yards easy, and I wouldn't doubt that you could go beyond that, maybe even close to 200. And that's being able to identify something. So really are beautifully built. So I don't need to go into all the details. I don't know. I'm not that light guy anyway, but I can tell you they are beautifully made. So let's mount them up. The majority of our carbine training we've done with Clint and Heidi Smith down at Thunder Ranch. And one thing that Clint says, that the most important thing that you can purchase, the first accessory that a guy should have on his carbine, is a light. If you have one and you don't have a light on it, you need to really look into that, because you got to know, you got to be able to identify stuff. You got to know what's going on, and usually bad things happen at night. So a light is absolutely essential. And really, just in the way he had his set up, is just, you don't have to overthink it. But this is in just your M-LOK mount. This is just that little beautiful little Arisaka light, very, very lightweight, very low profile. And then this is the Modlites are going to have the Surefire mounting system. So anything that works for a Surefire will work for a Modlite, including the tail cap. So you can see here, these are just specifically designed for rifles. Corey sent me out 2 lights. He sent out a PLH and an OKW. These things have probably different throws or different beam patterns. I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter because you can swap them out. The light really consists of 3 pieces. You have your emitter head. It's beautifully made. Then you have your body and then your tail cap. And all of the tail caps are also compatible with Surefire. So if you want to run something like a Unity hot button, you can simply swap that out for any Surefire cap. So that's really, really nice. What's my relationship with Mod Lite? I don't really have one. He just sent them out and said, hey, I'll try these out, you know, see what you think, you know, or I don't know if it really matters what I think, but he just did it because he's a nice guy, right? And so there's no obligation here. I'm doing it because I want to do it. Also, they came with Night Core, really nice chargers, and then the 18650 batteries instead of the Sierra 123s, which are rechargeable, and that's nice. What I've noticed with the 18650s, it's kind of fun to have them. You don't mind using your light more often because they're rechargeable, where when I go into the Sierra 123s, you know, these really get expensive, and you're always kind of reluctant to use it because they're just disposable. It's really important to degrease this stuff and to do it right. I don't think I've ever, that's a Torx. I don't think I've ever been to a carbine class where I didn't see someone with something M-lock falling off. And that's pretty embarrassing. I know Clint takes a dim view when that happens in his classes. But I've never had anything fall off because I degrease and I use 243 Loctite. I stay away from the red stuff. I've regretted using red Loctite more than once. This rail right here is the new one that the Special Forces guys are using. This is the first M-lock used by the U.S. military. This is the exact one. This is the Ergi from Geisley. It even has all of the press marks in it without the white, as they spec'd out for the U.S. Army spec, or whoever spec'd out, whoever does that. Now, M-lock is one of the greatest contribution that Magpul's done to the industry. It's a open source mounting system where you can mount anything, and how it works is you can see you've got these little T-nuts in there, and it's so simple and it works so good and gives you so many options. You just turn them in there like that, and basically they turn 90 degrees and then lock in behind those slots, so you can mount anything. Super versatile. Sometimes you need to put a little upward pressure on those. And just look inside, verify inside that those T-nuts are perpendicular to the slot. That's it. That's a very nice, clean mount. And now you have a nice clicky button. It's easy to get to. Now the Mark 18, that's a whole different story. This is a quad rail. This doesn't have the M-lock. This is the older style. And so we have rails on all sides. Plus, this is a rifle that would be set up for night vision. So we have to, because we're running a infrared laser illuminator, everything's really tight, and that poses a problem sometimes. So what we're going to use for this one is the Unity micro mount that's designed to work with the Mod Lite. So let's go build this first, and then we'll bring it over here and put it all together. So this is our micro mount, and I love the Unity stuff because it does more than one thing. It usually does multiple things. And so what this gives us is the ability to, on these rails that space is really tight, we have the ability to mount our front sight, as well as there's our mount for our scout light, right? Or a scout mount style. So right there. So you get a front sight base and a light mount all in one. I don't think you're going to find a better designed, lower profile mount than this setup. This Unity setup is so clever. Now, Lord willing, the maul will fit. Not have any conflicts here. I rarely find conflicts with the Unity stuff. It seems that they've thought of everything with almost every possible combination. Right there. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Tons of clearance. A good 1/8 inch clearance between the cap, the switch head. No problem with the sight. I already knew that. It's designed to work together. Folks are always appalled that I clamp my rifle into steel jaws with no protection or soft jaws. Actually, this is not part of the carbine. This is a Geisley reaction rod right there. There's probably an MSN number on there if you want it. This is it mates up. It basically has the bolt face cut in it, and it mates up with the barrel. And so what's cool about this is it's a really great way to work on things when you're building, because you can lock it in any position But more importantly is when you're torquing on things, like when you're trying to tighten a barrel nut or trying to break loose a muzzle brake or something, rather than trying to block it up and put all that strain on the receiver, now it's locked into the lugs. So when you're tightening up here, you're pressing against the lugs and you're not going to do any damage to your receiver. It's quite brilliant. But that's a pretty good setup right there. That looks pretty, look how nice and compact it is, and just the way the controls work out. So now you have access to your A and B buttons on your laser illuminator, and if you want a white light, it's simply right here, and it's shrouded in there, so you're not inadvertently gonna knock into it and make that thing turn on. Got to say, I'm really happy with that. Those are two really nice mounting options. This is the first mount I've ever seen from Arasaka, or that I've held, or actually got my hands on from Arasaka, but it's beautifully made. They're very, very nice, very smart. Oh, I didn't put that light in the right spot. I was gonna put it closer to the site and I put it further. I'll have to fix that, but we'll do that off camera. But there you go, a very simple M-LOK mount, and you've got consistency. So whatever you grab, this is for me more set up for, this is what I'm gonna grab if I have coyote problem, in the daytime, because the ACSS reticle on the ACOG is amazing for ranging. Or I could grab this one here, which is going to be my bed stand gun, or anything I'm going to do at nighttime, or my primary. And I've got the same consistency here, so I'm not relearning something. And when you're under stress, having something that's different, or something you're not used to, it always becomes a problem. So whatever you do and however you mount your stuff up, you might want to kind of think about that, keep it as consistent as possible. But that's a pretty clean setup. Special thanks to Corey. Thank you for sending those out. I really appreciate it. It's very kind of you, and I'm glad I could share them with folks. In case I think a lot of people don't know about these yet. They're kind of new on the scene, but they are the hottest thing on the market right now, and they're oftentimes sold out. But if you're looking for a top of the line rifle light that will give you 100 yards plus illumination, like real illumination, then this is your go-to. There's just nothing else like it. Thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you guys on the next video.